Welcome back. This is Nick Agarian. I will be discussing sign diagrams. Sign diagrams are important when you start to sketch your graph without a calculator, and when you want to see the behavior of your graph without your function without graphing it, I should say. So for example, we have this. The first one here, y is equal to x plus 2, x minus 1. You can see that y is equal to 0 when x is equal to negative 2, or x is equal to 1, because 1 minus 1 is 0, negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So if you can put your x here, x, and then your y here under, you can see that I'm going to use another color. You have, when x is negative 2, then you have 0. And 1, you have also 0. Okay. If I'm going to put a value of 0 when x is 0, so this is 0. When x 0, 0, this is 0. So you have 2 times negative 1 is negative. So between negative 2, I should expect that it should be negative. The value of y should be negative. I should expect. So as you can see here in the graph, we have the value of y as negative. And if I'm going to put the value of x, for example, 10, negative 10, then we have negative 10, and then we have negative 10 there. So we have two negatives. When we have two negatives, then it will become positive. So that means here is positive. And if I'm going to put the value of x is equal to 2, for example, 2 and 2. So we have 4 there, and we have positive. So that means after x is equal to 1, my y again becomes positive. So if I'm going to sketch that, you know already how it looks like. But if I'm going to look for here, then we have 1 there and we have 2 there. And it should be negative here. So, and it should be positive there, positive there. It's not the same, but you can see the sketch. Here, it's the same. We have our x and our y. So we have when x is equal to 1, then we have 0 here. That's it. And then if I'm going to put the value x is equal to 0, for example, then we have negative. We always have negative. We always have negative there also. So if you sketch it, then it is always like this. A little bit confusing if you have irrational functions because of this. Instead of putting that one, you need to put x here and y here. You need to put a broken line. That means it doesn't touch the y-axis. So when x is equal to 0, it doesn't touch the y-axis. That's why you put a broken line. But when it is x is equal to negative, for example, then we have only negative. And when x is equal to, greater than 0, then we have positive. So it should look like this. Okay. This last example here, is a little bit more confusing than these two. Let's take a look for another example. Here, as we've seen, we need to have y, x, and y, sorry, and we need to have the value of x, which is -2, and then we have 1, and then we have 4. All of these, their value is 0. And then, as you can see here, less than 2, we have negative. And then between -2 to 1, we have positive. And then we have negative again, and then positive. That is the sign diagram. Here, we have x and y. Then we have -2. And then we have 0. And then we have, what's that? 3. Y is the asymptote. It's also asymptote here. Okay. And then as you can see, less than -2 is positive. From -2 to 0 is negative. From, oh sorry, that's not 0, that's 1/2. I didn't see that. That's 1/2. Sorry for that. 1/2. Okay. So from 1/2 to 3, that's positive. And then we have another asymptote. I will be discussing asymptote later when I'm going to discuss rational function. And then after 3, that's negative. You can see here. So that's the diagram, sign diagram for these two figures. Now, like what I said, you can draw a sign diagram and sketch your graph by using the sign diagram. Let's see if we can. Let's try y is equal to x plus 3 and then x minus 1. And then we have our x and then we have our y. I usually do this way. So the roots are -3 because it will become 0, and this one is 1. This will become 0. So if I'm going to look for example, -5 when x is equal to -5, and this is -5, so I have negative and negative. So my sign is plus. Positive. Okay, so this is negative, this is negative. So negative times negative is positive. Here, if I will put 0 here now, so 0, 0, then I have negative. Ah, sorry, not there. It should be here. And then if I'm going to put 2, for example, this is 2, and this is 2. And then we have positive again. So if I'm going to graph that, I have -3, 1, 2, 3. Here is my -3, and then here is my 1. Okay, in between them, it should be negative. And then positive, and then positive. So definitely it should look like this. That's why it's very important to use the sign diagram. Let's look for this one now. We have x and y. Then we have when x is -5 divided by 2, because this will become 0. And when x is 3, this is also 0. So this is -2.5. So if we try -3, for example, our x is -3, this will become 6. This is negative, and this is also 0. Sorry, negative and 3 minus negative 3. That's positive. So negative times positive is negative here. If we try 0, so we have 0 here. This is 0. This is 0. So we have positive. That is positive. And if we have 3, more than 3, for example 5, so this is positive, this is negative, so we have negative. So if I'm going to sketch my graph now, they are talking too much outside. I hope you will not get disturbed. So for example, we have negative 2.5, 1, 2.5 there, and we have 3, 1, 2, 3 there. In between it should be positive, like that, and we have negative there and negative there. Definitely it should look like that. Why? Because we have negative 2x multiplied by negative x is negative 2x squared, and we know from quadratic function when our y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, when a is less than 0, if this is negative, then you have this form of your graph. So definitely it looks like that. It's not exact, but it's just a sketch. Let's try this one. We have, if we factor this one by 3, we have 3. Then we have 4 minus x squared. And then if we factor more, then we have 2 plus x, 2 minus x. That means my x and y. So my sign will become, this one is negative 2 and 2. Okay, before that, if I can use this now, if negative 3, so we have negative 3 squared, that is 9, 27, that is negative. So we have negative there. And if it's 0, then we have positive. And if it's 3 again, then it is negative. Then it should look like this. We have negative 2 and 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Negative 2 and 2. And it should be, in between them, it should be positive. Okay, and then negative. Like that. Okay, this one, we have x is equal to, x, y. We have only one root, that is when x is equal to 3. So we have 0 there. Okay, before that, it doesn't matter that it's always negative, and it's always negative because of this negative. So my graph, it should look like this. 1, 2, 3, that one, and go that one. Okay, next we have the row assigned diagram 4. This one now, it's a little bit more complicated. Then we have x and y again. When x is equal to, we have 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. So we have x is equal to negative 1/2. So if we have negative 1/2 here, then we have asymptote there. Okay, before that, if we have 1, for example, negative 1, so I have negative 1 minus 1 divided by, and negative 2 plus 1, then we have negative 2. We have negative 2, negative 1, then we have positive, so we have positive there. And if it's 1, for example, so we have 0. So if we have 1, if we have 1, we have 0. And then if we have 2, for example, then we have 2 minus 1 divided by 4, 5, that is 1/5. And then we have 1/5 when x is equal to 2. Then we have positive here. So that means if I'm going to, here is my 1/2, and I need to have an asymptote there. Oh, sorry, not positive 1/2, negative 1/2, I should say. Negative 1/2. Then this is your 1/2. X is equal to negative 1/2. So it should be my graph like that. And the other one is when it is 0. When 0, we have negative 1. This is negative 1. Negative. So we have after, we have negative here, negative. And then when it is 1 here, so it should be like this, I hope. And then like that. Let's see if that's, I'm going to bring out my screen for my calculator. Here's the graph, so that you can see. Exit here. As you can see, this is the function that we have. And if I'm going to put the graph now, it looks like this. And this is what I did. So it looks like that. It should be positive, and it should be from the asymptote will be negative 1/2. I keep on talking about asymptote, but I'm going to discuss asymptotes later. Okay. In my next video, I will be discussing rational functions where asymptotes are included. And I hope you will be there. And thank you for watching. And if you like what I am doing, please subscribe to my channel. Have a nice day.